Can you come?
So how will you accomplish the tasks? Stay tuned and I will help you in answering all the tasks in week 7.
Alright, we are now in week 7 of our English 6 subject. And this lesson will be presented once again by your teacher, Teacher Armor.
For today's activity, let us evaluate narratives based on how the author developed the elements, theme, and the point of view. Come on, let's start! For you, what is theme? It is what the story teaches its readers. It is the central message of a literary work. It is the lesson that the author wants us to learn from the story. And it tells us what we should and we should not do to ensure happiness and success in our own lives. But remember, children, every time that you are going to read, you should possess this ability, the ability of reading with comprehension. Remember that every time you read, you should understand what you have been read. Okay? The following are important points to remember when writing a theme. 1. For a better understanding, themes are best written in a complete sentence. There is what we call thematic concept, which is the broader topic that a story touches. Examples of this are love, forgiveness, bravery, happiness, heroism, sacrifice, and justice. Then there is thematic statement, which is the argument the writer makes about the topic through his or her work. Example of this is love cannot be bought. Number 2, a theme does not contain character names. Number 3, a theme is true to everyone. For number 4, do not include specific plot points of the story. Number 5, do not be obvious. Number 6, do not make it a piece of advice. Number 7, do not use cliché. What is a cliché? A cliché is a phrase or expression that has been used so often that it is no longer original or interesting. It is something that is so commonly used in books, stories, etc. that it is no longer effective. And number 8, themes avoid absolute terms such as all, none, everything, always. Aside from theme, a narrative has an element called point of view. Point of view is the mode of narration that an author employs to let the readers hear and see what takes place in a story, poem, or essay. Narrator is the person telling a story. He is the one describing what is happening or what goes into the scene of the story. There are 3 main types of point of view. First person. The author is involved in the story. He or she may be the main character or one of the characters. The pronouns I and we are used. Example, I was crying one morning when my mother asked, "What's happening to you?" Second person. This type of point of view is rarely used in literary writing. It is commonly used in instructional writing. The pronoun you is used. Example, you should pack lightly when you go backpacking. you will have a good trip if you are aware of the safety precautions. For the third person, the author or narrator is not involved in the story. He or she is only a witness. He or she knows the thoughts and feelings of the characters. The pronouns he, she, it, and they are used. Example, Jason felt like he has done something good for others. He wanted to do more to give assistance to those who are in need. So how will you accomplish the tasks? Stay tuned, and I will help you in answering all the tests in week 7. Read the directions carefully. For activity 1, the directions said, read the story, The Prince and the Pauper, written by Mark Twain. Please see Joy in Learning English 6 textbook on pages 76 to 77 and answer the questions that follow.
Hickory dickory dock, the bird looked at the clock struck 2, away she flew. Hickory dickory dock, tick tock, tick tock.
It seems that in your module, the space is a little bit smaller. So I suggest that you will use the pad paper or your notebook to answer all the tasks here in week 7. So for the first question, what did you learn about Tom in the beginning of the story? So this is all about Tom and how he portrays as an actor or the character from the story. Number 2, how was Tom able to enter the palace? Enter, or going inside the palace or bringing into the palace. Number 3, why did Edward and Tom decide to exchange clothes? Exchange, or let's say Edward's clothes will be for Tom and Tom's clothes will be used by Edward. So the question there is why. So you should answer and begin answering by the word because. Okay? In number 4, why did the prince go out of the gate? So you will state your reason from the story. What happened to him? You will explain more. The number 5, point out the character traits of the prince from these scenarios. From these scenarios, meaning from every details written here. In letter A, the way he treated Tom. So, from the story, the prince there is Edward. So, how did Edward treat Tom? So, in letter B, it is about his conversation with Tom. How did you get the character of, or how did you see the character of the prince while talking or having this conversation with Tom? And letter C, the way he dealt with the cruel soldier. So, how he able to, let's say, show his attitude as a king, or prince rather. In number 6, is it realistic for a rich boy to switch roles with a poor boy? So that is how you're going to react, okay? What you're asked to do is, you are asked to explain. Then in number 7, if you have to choose between the prince and the pauper, who do you want to be? The pauper or the prince? You will choose and then you will cite your reason why you choose that. Then number 8, what important lesson did you learn from the story? We all know that a team or the author is always doing such stories for us to learn from it. So what is that important lesson that we have learned or you have learned from the story? Okay? You may start answering now. For the next activity, evaluate the theme in the short narratives by choosing the correct thematic statement. Write your answers. Again, if you're using your notebook, then write your answers in your notebook. If you are using your pad paper, then continue writing it using your pad paper. what are you going to do here is, children, you have to read this with comprehension. So let me read this with you. The Forgiving Crocodile. The Forgiving Crocodile talks about a family of crocodile and an old woman. The old woman asked favor from the mother crocodile Buahaya to spare her life, and in return, she would take care of the two little babies. However, Aling Sita did not value their agreement. She sat all day ignoring the two little crocodiles. Buahaya discovered out what Aling Sita has been doing, so she gathered poisonous snakes for Aling Sita instead of delicious food and gave them to her. Aling Sita was frightened and asked for forgiveness from what she's done. From then on, Aling Sita took good care of Buahaya's babies. What is the best way to write the theme? You will choose from letter A, B, C, and D. For choice number 1 or letter A, it says forgiveness. For letter B, forgiveness is great. For letter C, fulfill the agreement made with someone. Letter D, forgive someone who did something bad to you. So if you will go back to what the theme is about, remember that it is what the story teaches its readers. It is a central message of a literary work. It tells us what we should do and we should not do to ensure happiness and success in our own lives. And it is the lesson that the author wants us to learn from the story. So, based from facts and everything that we have read, it is all about fulfill the agreement made with someone. This is the lesson of the story. It is not just about forgiveness. It is not just about forgiveness is great or forgive someone who did something bad to you. Instead, this is about fulfilling the agreement made with someone so that it will not cause you more trouble. Let us continue evaluating narrative number 2 to get the thematic statement. The crab and the spider. One day, a crab wanted to look for a spider for its food. After some time, the crab rolled over a sugarcane mill and peeped outside, but there was no spider. He went to the mountain and found a tree. He climbed the tree to look for a spider, but there was none. He went to the other side of the mountain and saw a hole. He was very happy to see 2 spiders. So 2 spiders ran away and pretended to jump into a cooking pan with boiling water. Without a second thought, the crab also jumped into the pan, so the crab was boiled and the 2 spiders went back home. What theme can we get from the story? Letter A, trust no one. Letter B, don't be in a hurry. Letter C, think twice before finding food. Letter D, recklessness leads to destruction. Narrative number 3, the praying mantis. One sunny day, there was a praying mantis who was about to lay egg. She went to look for a place that no one could see. She found a path where there were footprints of a little bird named Igui. She followed the footprints, but unfortunately the footprints could no longer be seen when the bird ran on the water. She left the place and went back. At noon, she decided to go to the forest to continue looking for a nest. While she was walking, her feet were wounded and called for help. Igui came and treated her feet. She thanked Igui and finally climbed the tree. Which is the most appropriate main theme of the story? A, is it okay to ask for help? B, ask help. C, help someone who is in need. D, Igui is a beautiful and helpful bird. So for this activity, write first person, second person, or third person to show the point of view from which the piece has been written. Write your answers in your notebook. Once again, if you are doing this in your notebook or a pad paper, if you're doing this in your pad paper. Number 1. In Japan, More than 200 years ago, a lonely little boy grew up to be a great man. His name was Yataro Kobayashi. Yataro has been left motherless at an early age. And his father, though kind, was often too busy to take notice of him. What is the point of view of this narrative? Number 2. By this time, darkness was coming on, and weakened and tired as I was. By this time, darkness was coming on, and weakened and tired as I was. I lay down and fell asleep on the grass. Then I awakened. It was daylight. I was lying on my back, and when I tried to rise, I could not. Narrative number 3. If you can't be a highway, then just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. Isn't by the size that you win or you fail. Be the best of whatever you are. Number 4. I'm okay now that water's back in the ocean. Did you know that water covers 71% of the Earth's surface? 328 million cubic miles to be exact. That's 1,361,000,000 cubic kilometers. Besides, why start moving it now when it's been around almost forever? And that's no fish story. The first ocean water came from the vapor in the atmosphere and water in rocks released during the Earth's formation. We don't go much farther into the past than that. Again, what you're going to do here is to write if it is first person, second person, or third person to show the point of view from which the piece has been written. Look at the first number. So in Japan, more than 200 years ago, a lonely little boy grew up to be a great man. His name was Yataro Kobayashi. Yataro has been left motherless at an early age, and his father, though kind, was often too busy to take notice of him. Did you see the underlined words? The underlined words are him, okay? And it refers to the third person. So it means that this is the third person point of view. You will continue answering. And for this activity, evaluate the short narrative by writing the thematic statement and point of view of each. Let me read to you number 1. One Monday morning, Celia was brushing her teeth. She used a glass to save water as she always does. On the same day, Nestor was also brushing his teeth. But unlike Celia, he doesn't use a glass. The water suddenly stopped running from the faucet. Celia had water in a glass, so she rinsed her mouth clean. But Nestor did not have water, so he went to school with a frothy mouth. What do you think will be the theme of this? And the point of view? Narrative number 2. Lee, who is ill, wishes to play with her friends, but her mom won't allow her to leave her room. She feels that Lee should eat and sleep so she will get well. Lee puts her elbows on the windowsill, sits still and listens to the kids. part, you will write the theme and identify the point of view of the following excerpts. The choices: the choices: A, first person, B, second person, C, third person. Then write your theme or write the theme of the narratives. Number 1, Sam and Bella were at Paris Park, sitting on a bench together. Neither of them was smiling. After a long period of silence, Sam said, "This isn't going to work. I mean, you're an introvert person and I'm an extrovert person." Bella nodded. A tear rolled her face. Sam went on, "If we got married and lived together, what kind of activities could we do that we will both enjoy? Somebody's going to be unhappy." Bella began sobbing and said, "Okay, let's just end it now. Have fun with your life." She jumped off the bench and ran into the streets. Number 2, Marco went out of the house to buy groceries. He didn't wear face mask as protection from COVID-19 virus. He didn't believe the virus exists. After a few days, he got symptoms and later on tested positive from the virus. What is the theme? What is her point of view? Number 3, Cheryl looked across the field. She didn't see anything concerning. She wondered why Kristine pulled out like that. Kristine turned to her. The ghost that Kristine had just seen was gone. Now she felt crazy. "You have to believe me, Cheryl. It was just her," said Kristine. Cheryl frowned at her in disbelief. "What was just here, Kristine?" she asked. Cheryl was angry with Kristine for disturbing her sleep for no apparent reason. What is the theme and what is its point of view? The theme of this first narrative is letting go of a person, though heartbreaking, but it will be the best or it will be the start of new happiness. And the point of view is third person. So the rest will be yours to perform it.